Wait, we need to do like Tina and Amy and do our clapping.
Do we clap at the same time?
Nah, you don't need to.
Okay.
There. Welcome. Just go right into it. I'll even open with that. How's that? Welcome. Hey, guess what? Caroline, look at us. They announced more episodes, so we're back. It's the Corkboard Chronicle. This is the only way we meet is if SNL tells us to. How you been?
I have been good. You know, it's been a while since we last recorded. But yeah, it's been good. It's been cold. It's snowing again.
Really?
Yeah, just a little.
Oh. See, they keep it's this I keep reading about on Twitter, this like fake spring. Fool's spring,
It was 80 yesterday, and today it's like blizzard warning.
That's crazy. Should I be concerned? Is that coming for us in about 4 days?
I don't think so. I think it's just localized to my area.
Very interesting. Well,
yeah.
I mean, it better hurry up because it can't stick around for too long, I feel. We're going to get out of full spring territory, and it's going to be real springs only from here on out.
I'm hoping.
We'll see. But, Caroline, right, we got to get right down to business, okay? Because there's something very important that happened immediately after we pressed stop last week. I don't even know if you recall this, because I don't think I would have if I hadn't written it down immediately.
Right.
We solved how to end season 50. You and I did this together.
Yes.
Host Lorne Michaels. Sharks, here's my pitch. Host Lorne Michaels. But we all know Lorne Michaels. He's not really one of those people who's gonna like get in there and like be silly and stuff. But we go back to the roots. Not Questlove.
Not the roots.
We go back to the roots of the show where we premiered with George Carlin only doing a monologue or only doing monologues and then not appearing in the rest of the show. I think that'd be a wonderful showcase for the cast, for anyone who wants to stop by, because somebody may be saying goodbye. We don't know. But I just think that would be a really cute way to put a little bow on all of it.
Yeah.
Is just to have that ovation for Lorne Michaels with just him on the stage would be cool in itself. Monologue could be a minute. I don't really care, but I just think that would be an interesting way to go. So if anybody's listening, which I'm told they're not, that's my pitch. Lorne, hello?
I think Lorne has spent a lot of this whole 50th, all of the stuff they've been doing, it seems like trying to get attention away from himself, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think I think that whenever he does decide to leave, it will be nice if he would let everyone really appreciate him for just a second, you know? Because it is his.
Still.
He is like responsible for all of it, you know? I mean, there's credit to share, but like that's Lorne's show. So it would be, I think it would be a nice way to kind of give him his moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. It's time to I know he's well celebrated, everybody knows, but like a cool moment it would make.
I want him to let everyone do that instead of going, oh, no.
Right, exactly. So that was one thing that came up the second we stopped recording. The second thing that came up the second we stopped recording was we were all talking about how like the Meryl Streep, Martin Short hard/soft launch of it all. It does appear that they're like public now, that they're like completely together.
Neither of them will like say it, but yeah.
But you know, we can add.
Everybody knows.
2 and 2. But here's an even more likely scenario. Hold on, did we talk about all this on the podcast already?
I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast or we just talked about it.
That's what's so confusing, because it's like, if we did talk about it, it was literally right after a different podcast episode.
Yeah.
We're just going to proceed as if no one's ever heard this before.
Yeah.
The next hard launch we need is Sabrina Carpenter and Marcelo Hernandez, because these two were together all through the course of the 50th.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like there's vibes. She's flown him out, for God's sake, to go
That picture
to her
of them
concert.
after her concert was the first time that I was like, is there... What's going on here?
It's been done before, right?
Yes. Yes, she would not be the first.
The beautiful actress or music artist comes to SNL and finds the funny man and marries him.
Yeah.
Just saying. It has happened, and the vibes are right for that. I support it completely.
Yeah.
Would be awesome. But we're not here to talk about what went down after we hit stop last time.
Yeah.
That's old news. We got fresh, piping hot news about 3 hours ago. So, should we jump right into it, Caroline?
I think we should.
Let's turn around and see the reveal. What do we think about this, Caroline?
I am mostly excited.
Mostly excited. Hold on. Let me think. It's, are you 4/6 excited?
Yes, I would say I'm 4/6 excited and 2/6
apprehensive?
Curious, yeah.
Curious is a great way to put it. Yeah, so what's the first impression that jumps out at you with this particular list?
The Mikey Madison surprised me, because I guess I just didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mostly because we had so many of our predictions. It didn't even occur to me that they would ask her to do it. Maybe I just didn't think of her as someone who would want to, but, you know, when has that stopped people before?
Honestly, yeah. We're 0 for however many we guessed last week, which was like 4. I'm thrown still that we don't see Keke Palmer. I really thought I had that nailed.
Yeah, I thought you did too.
I mean, I felt like it was a slip of the tongue, you know?
Yeah. When you really think about the Mikey Madison, like, yeah, she just won an Oscar. Like, duh, they're gonna reach out.
For sure.
But I didn't even occur to me as a possibility.
Yeah. How old is she? She's like 20?
No, I think she wasn't the
25.
youngest. I want to say like Jennifer Lawrence was also pretty young when she won hers, and Mikey Madison was like somewhere around that age.
Marlee Matlin won at age 21 in 1987. That's cool. Yeah, so she's down there. But yeah, she is 25. So yeah, it'll be an interesting. Well, yeah, we might as well just go one at a time. Mikey Madison obviously is going to be her first time. This was Honora was definitely her, I would say, breakout. Were you very familiar with Mikey Madison beforehand?
I still haven't seen her in anything. I know Honora, and I know she was in one of the Scream movies.
Oh, okay.
Maybe one of those franchises. But past that, I hadn't heard of her until Honora, really.
Yeah, I hadn't either. Honora seems interesting. It seems like, all the best pictures are usually like, oh, that would be an interesting watch. Yeah. And then it's one of those, I'll get to it, put it on the watch list.
Right.
At least for me. That's my truth. But yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be fun. I worry about anytime we end up with a dramatic actress on SNL.
Yeah.
My first thought is Claire Foy. I love Claire Foy. I think she was fantastic in The Crown. I don't think SNL knew what to do.
That's the thing
around her.
I don't know. I guess I don't have a good idea of like what her personality's like, and like if she, I don't know how like willing is she to do crazy stuff. You know, that's always the question with the more dramatic people. Like, how seriously are they going to take themselves in the whole process?
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting. Look, we're all watching.
Yeah.
we're watching this, we're doing this podcast, we're watching. But, you know, and I guess the other hand of that is, I would say Dakota Johnson had two paths to how, like, a more dramatic actor can take an SNL hosting. I thought her first time was more like what we're describing, which is like no one could really get a vibe. There's only so much you can do with the 50 Shades of Grey of it all.
Yeah.
But then her second time, they found something.
Right.
And she did really well. And it was extremely memorable, particularly the like roasting sketch, the Please Don't Destroy.
Right, yeah.
So you know, it literally could go either way, but my initial reaction is, are they gonna know a couple of different like directions to take this?
I have two questions. One, do we think they specifically wanted Mikey Madison, or do you think the booker was just going to look at whoever won the Oscar? You know, did they come at it from, well, we want Mikey, or did they come at it from, well, we really want whoever wins the Oscar,
really,
and Mikey is willing to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And did they try to get Adrian Brody?
Oh boy, I doubt it. I would after.
He could use the monologue to finish his acceptance speech.
Oh geez, yeah, he could use the monologue to formally introduce Sean Paul instead of whatever he did in 2003.
And my second, just in line with, you know, what are they going to write for her?
Yeah.
Do we get Sarah Sherman's Honora Menorah from her Seth Meyers appearance?
I mean, she's in the room. You might as well.
Yeah.
You might as well bring that back. We'll work it back in.
I think that Seth showed it to Mikey when she was on his show. So she's familiar with it.
I think she was gifted it, if I'm not mistaken.
You think that they gave it to her to keep? Do you think she kept it?
Well, that's another layer to it. But I know she was like fast. She was, you know, I watched that interview and she was like very, you know, excited about it. But who knows?
We'll see.
There might be another place for the Honora Menorah with Mikey Madison. Now, her musical guest. And that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, go ahead.
With the Shane Gillis of it all, the Morgan Wallen of it all, I'm like, I guess is in the 50th? That's like my kind of like... Again, in the 50th season, like, I don't know.
Shane Gillis is definitely the equation to make because, you know, someone who is probably more popular than, like, the average SNL fan could comprehend. Like, I think Morgan Wallen, like, didn't he recently break, like, a record for a song that remained #1 or
probably
remained on the charts at the very least for the longest? Like,
I'm sure
people are very much into the Morgan Wallen of it all, but also much like Shane Gillis had enough SNL related controversy to, in my opinion, make the show nervous to engage with that again. Not in a banning kind of way, because ever since I saw that piece of the music documentary where Lorne Michaels was like, you know, was talking about how he reads articles all the time and SNL banned this person, banned that person. He's like, I've never banned anybody in my life. We will go after what people are talking about, or verbatim what he said in the thing, what's hot.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he said this or if I just kind of made a conjecture that, like, where people like assume a ban is in place, it's usually when a guest, a host, a musical guest breaks the trust of the show, because Lorne Michaels will accept a lot of controversy. He wants people talking about these bookings, but he doesn't want somebody to, like, hijack the show, which like the Adrian Brody issue could be considered that. Yeah. The Adrian Brody issue could be considered that, but, like, Sam Rockwell slipping the F-bomb in the first sketch of the night doesn't count. That
Right.
was not like Kristen Stewart did the same thing. She was invited back like 2 years later. It's that kind of thing is just what you get with live TV. It's when somebody does something intentionally or, like I said, breaks the trust of the show. That's when I feel like they kind of move away from them. And unfortunately, I see what Morgan Wallen did in 2020 as a breach of trust of the show. We book you, we announce you, we expect you're going to be able to show up, and then with literally 3 days notice in the middle of COVID, we have to punt. Not punt. I mean, Jack White is by no means a punt, but you have to pull off the inevitable with hours to go.
Right.
That kind of thing, does it get you banned? You can never come back. Maybe not, but like, it has to be an unmissable kind of guest to be like, okay, yeah, we'll try it again. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page as you. With Shane Gillis, I was surprised that he hosted the first time, and then I was really surprised that he hosted again. With Morgan Wallen, like, I was surprised they asked him, that they rescheduled him the first time at all. I don't remember how much time was between when he was supposed to be on and when he actually came on.
It was about 2 months. I
Okay.
remember looking it up. It was like the first episode, the first like December episode, but he was scheduled for the October 10th or something like that.
This like shocked me because my other thing with him is I'm not a fan of his.
What? Say it ain't so.
Just, I'll be candid here. If you couldn't tell that I wasn't jumping up and down.
Right.
His music is whatever. But as a person, he's just always doing like shitty little things. Like I feel like I'm constantly hearing like little things he's doing and I'm like, well, don't do that. Like he just, I don't know, he just rubs me the wrong way. And I just do not see a world where him being on SNL draws his fans to watch SNL.
Yeah.
I just don't see that really like intersecting that much. Like, show me the person who's a giant SNL fan who is also so excited that Morgan Wallen is hosting. Who is that person?
It can't be many.
Yeah. But... I mean, I'm sure that they exist. And I'm sorry if I just offended any of them. It's just an odd choice to me.
It is, but at the same time, there is still the hope that's maybe a fantasy at this point that SNL or that even there are things that can still quote unquote bring us all together.
Yeah.
And
is it? I don't think it's Morgan Wallen.
I don't know if it's Morgan. I don't know.
If you're looking
again,
yeah.
I don't know. He spent 0 weeks in my Spotify rotation.
Yeah.
But apparently he was spent 90 at the top of the charts.
People love him. Yeah.
I don't know.
I am going to Nashville in about a month, and I will make sure to visit the site of him throwing that chair off that 4th floor balcony. I'll make sure I visit that little historical
take selfies.
venue.
X marks the spot. That kind of thing. Yeah. Just history was made here.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's not for us. Maybe you would say.
It's also such a strange combination, those two.
And, a lot of times I like the weird combinations.
Yeah.
I like seeing Betty White introduce Jay-Z. I think that's hilarious. But, so in that way, it is kind of charming, but it's still just like, I don't know.
My initial thought with seeing these two names together was keep him away from her. Don't make Mikey Madison talk to Morgan Wallen.
Right.
Don't make her do that.
Don't stand opposite sides of the stage.
She just won an Oscar. Don't make her do that.
Right. Don't stoop. Oh, man. Poor Morgan Wallen. Sorry, buddy. It's not personal. It's just
sorry, Morgan.
Weird. Come on, Morgan. Come here. Come here. Bring it in. Even this is weird, right? do you want to do this? I don't know. I'm just saying. You got to look at it from that point of view too. Is it?
Yeah, was it his agent?
It's just management, or?
Yeah, I need to talk to the SNL bookers. I need to sit down with them for like an hour.
Oh, we can. Hey,
what are you guys doing?
Turns out we have just the platform. Oh man. Well, hey, let's we can breeze by this booking that we feel a little lukewarm about.
Yeah.
And one that move to one that I feel red hot about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have been wanting Jack Black back on SNL for a long, long time. This will be his fourth time hosting, but his first since 2005. Do you know what debuted the night of the last time he hosted?
Sure I do.
Of course you do. It's Lazy Sunday.
Yeah.
The last time Jack Black hosted was the night Lazy Sunday premiered. We've been needing this for a long time. Now, I know that there's a lot of controversy around him too. Not as much.
But
say. But like, it was the whole thing with Donald Trump and Kyle Gass, and Jack Black effectively called off like Tenacious D. This is dumb. Sorry. I just think it's a little like, and even from Jack Black's reaction to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So leaving all that aside, this is going to be a crazy good, crazy weird episode, and I think it's a good thing ultimately. Sorry, you were going to say something.
No. It's just that it's so crazy to me that it has been 20 years since he's hosted. It is. I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, why hasn't Jack Black hosted? And I was trying to think, what's he done in the last 20 years? And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I'm forgetting. But it is kind of crazy to me that he never came back and hosted during Jumanji or Jumanji 2. Because I feel like that was a really big moment for like him specifically, and those movies were so big. I'm just surprised that he didn't. I wonder if Kevin Hart or The Rock did instead. But it's just surprising to me that that wasn't part of like his promo for either of those movies.
Right. That's a good call on the Kevin Hart and The Rock thing.
They were in there a lot for a while.
The Rock definitely hosted in 2017, which is when Jumanji came out. As did Kevin Hart. I believe he hosted like the Christmas episode in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that is probably what it came down to. But I'm looking at other stuff like Nacho Libre, he didn't come back. Tropic Thunder, he didn't come back. Like, surprising that he hasn't made it back. And also, like, he hosted 3 really good episodes. So,
and then, just to do nothing for 20 years is strange.
Yeah, because he was a prime candidate to become like a John Goodman, where it's someone you rely on and bring back over and over and over again, even if they don't have anything going on.
Right.
No, zero hostings to promote any of the Kung Fu Pandas.
That's the other. Yeah. Okay. I'm like, what was he doing that I'm missing? It was Kung Fu Panda. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's shocking to look back and go like, oh yeah. Why has it been so long?
It must have been like his choice then, because I'm sure that they asked.
I don't see them going through 2008, 2009, not calling,
Right. He must have just not felt like doing it.
Right. Hey, that's the more power to him. I understand. Yeah. I get it. But and even as recently as the Mario movie, I was like, this prime. The table is set for a Jack Black return. But if this is what it takes, then second video game franchise movie times the charm. So I'll take it. And then so that is paired with an Elton John, Brandi Carlile performance, fresh off of their Oscar nomination. And did they just write that one song together, or do they have a full project coming?
I want to say it was just that song because it was for a documentary, right?
Right. Yeah.
About Elton John.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's just that one, but I'm not like super familiar with what he's been up to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be completely surprised if it's like they perform that and then they perform like a classic Elton John song.
Right.
Just
I would
with
have liked to
Brandy
see them
Carlisle.
perform it at the Oscars. I would have liked to seen a lot of the songs performed at the Oscars, but
Honestly, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be good either. Whatever they do, it's
yeah.
gonna be fantastic. And I was just thinking about because she was. This will be both of their third time as a musical guest. Elton John was musical guest first in like I want to say 1982 or something like that.
So
And
he's
then
like really spacing them out.
oh yeah, 1982, then 2011, and now 2025.
Okay.
Kind of wild. But I was thinking about what was the last time because I remember like being just amazed by the last time I saw Brandy Carlisle on SNL, and then I was like, but I looked it up and she hasn't been a musical guest since 2022, and I'm like, no, I saw her like recently. It was the concert that I was thinking of.
She performed with, did she just perform by herself or was she with someone?
I think she at least started by herself.
It's crazy that they didn't have her perform with Bonnie Raitt,
Yeah,
but
that would have been
whatever.
interesting. I've still been meaning to go back and watch all of the SNL 50 stuff and it sucks because one of my friends, Meryl Millett, former co-host of mine, she sent like a reference to the Black Jeopardy sketch during the SNL 50th, and I didn't like the quote. I didn't recognize, and then when she revealed what it was, I felt so silly. But I'm like, I want to know this special by heart. One day I will. But I haven't had the chance to go back and like watch it 50 times over like I want to. But anyway, between this host and this musical guest, the point being, we're in for a treat.
Yes.
That's going to be really fun and really good. No pressure. And now, April 12th, this is extremely cool because John Hamm coming back for his fourth time. He hosted. Did you know he hosted twice in the year 2010?
That doesn't surprise me because Mad Men was still on.
Mad Men was still on. It was January and then October, so two different seasons, but both in the year 2010.
Yeah.
So the fact that like he hosted 3 times in 2 years, and then never again.
I'm always so surprised when it's like he's hosted 3 times. I'm like, because I just have this like, I think he shows up other times probably, and that's what I'm thinking of. But I feel like John Hamm always is hosting SNL. But yeah, when you actually look at it, it has been so long.
Yeah, and the other layer to that is like we think of him. He seems ever present. He does make a lot of cameos, but also like I know you and I rewatched 30 Rock like crazy, but so he's all over 30 Rock. But also he tended to host during like major holidays. I think he hosted twice over Halloween. So when they release like the SNL Halloween specials, he comes up there.
Yeah,
and so I think it makes it feel like he's just around more. But what I find funny is that like he even made a joke about this when he was on during the cold open of the season 48 premiere, hosted by Miles Teller. They did that like Manning cast parody, and he was like the celebrity guest for it. And it was interesting because he mentioned the fact that he hadn't been back in years then, and it still took 3 years to book him as hosting.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious about his listed cameos.
I feel like he's always popping up because that's someone who will. As far as I can tell, doesn't turn down a job, and thank God he doesn't. You can bring him on any show, I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love John Hamm because of his SNL appearances. The first thing I ever saw him on was 30 Rock. Yeah. But then it was all of his SNL stuff around the same time. So like, to me, John Hamm, I guess I think of him as a comedy actor first, which he is
Mhm.
not.
Yeah, which is crazy because
Yeah,
that is just how he's known. I feel like to our generation, it's just
I
like, oh
think of
yeah,
him as
John Hamm's
being
funny.
funny.
Hmm.
And like I don't think that's like most people's, or maybe that's not what he would say about himself.
Right. Um, couple of things. So I did look up his cameo list. This is why it feels like he's on SNL all the time
Hmm.
because three cameos in 2011, three cameos in
Yeah.
2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, two in 2019, the 2022 one I spoke of earlier, and then two in 2024.
But that's why it doesn't, yeah, that's why, because I feel like he just is game for whatever. So I feel like, yeah,
Yeah,
he is always around. So I'm excited that he gets to actually like host. He was
right.
having such a good time at the 50th concert.
Oh yeah,
Every time he was like front row and it would cut to him and his wife having just like the time of their life. I loved it. Him in his like little sweater. Come on.
love it.
I love him.
Just gotta love it.
I was so excited that he was hosting. That's what I was kind of picturing for season 50 was a lot of
Yeah,
like Jack Black, John Hamm, that kind of like type of
correct.
host.
Yeah, people who like, either come back all the time or just like
Yeah.
needed to come back. Jack
You look
Black
at it and you go,
needed to
yeah,
come back.
no brainer. Like,
Right. Um, another thing, well, just speaking to like the prowess of John Hamm as like an SNL performer and how quickly he became like trusted. I will usually, so obviously we listen to the Lonely Island podcast, and lately I've been trying to like keep up, like watch episodes along with the episodes that they recap or the digital shorts that they recap. And so most recently was they covered Ross Trent, which aired during the John Hamm episode. So I was watching that on Peacock, and it was fascinating because like that one episode, that was his first time hosting, but that episode was such a like is time capsule the right word? I don't really know because
yeah, I
what
think
happened
so.
was Amy Poehler spends the first part of 2008 very pregnant, ready to go at any moment. Could have happened on the air for as far as we know,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but ultimately, she goes into labor the Friday night before the John Hamm episode, and so that it has all these little like Easter eggs where like they did a Mad Men parody sketch that Elizabeth Moss is actually in,
Hmm.
but she wasn't scheduled to be in that
Right.
chair. Amy Poehler was going to play her character, but because Elizabeth Moss was coming to the taping anyway, they were just like, hey,
Can you sit in?
we had a huge casting change about 10 hours ago. Would you
Right.
mind getting into costume? And then the other thing was the whole back half hour of this John Hamm episode is just John Hamm. There is a sketch. Let me actually pull it
John
up.
Hamm's John
Yes,
Hamm.
it's John Hamm's John Hamm, and the second one was like a political ad where he played a man whose last name was Finger, and he was running in Butts, New York. So
Awesome.
the tagline was "Put a finger in butts." Um, that's that's the whole end
That's
of the
yeah.
show. Is two one man pieces in a row.
That's pretty crazy.
And this was something that I read initially on. If you want to look up just something kind of an interesting experiment, I would say it's called One SNL a Day. It's this blog where this guy literally spent from like 2018 to 2022 watching one episode of SNL every day and rating every segment. But one point that he makes in here is like this shows two things. One, how light they probably ended up because
Hmm.
of Amy Poehler having the kid late in the week, and two, how trusted he became so quickly
Yeah.
that SNL felt okay just letting him take it
Yeah.
for the last two sketches.
They must love writing for him because he, one, seems game to do whatever, and two, can pull off whatever they hand him. So writing for him, I must be so nice. One of my, when I think John Hamm SNL, my brain immediately goes to him and Michael Bublé.
Yeah.
Ham and Bubbly.
Ham and Bubbly. Exactly.
That's like, perfect. That's, yeah, first thought.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, so that's going to be very exciting.
I'm very excited.
It's been time. That's another one that you're surprised thinking back. Like, because like you said, he's feels like such a presence. He feels like he should be a 5-timer at this point, and he's just not.
Oh, I saw this and my first thought was, oh, that's got to be the 5th time. Still no.
Still no. One day.
He's
another
been in
12
enough
years.
He's cameoed in enough sketches that by numbers, he's there.
Yeah, basically, yeah. He's in the platinum lounge at this point with his cameo appearances.
Right.
But, actually, I said 12 years. 15 years. 15 years since he hosted last.
Wow.
Crazy. Welcome back, John Hamm. John Hamm with musical guest Lizzo. Lizzo brings the party.
Yeah.
I assume the performance itself was going to be great. I just didn't realize she was not in trouble anymore yet.
Well, I think all of a sudden she just came back with a new song and hoped that everybody was cool. But I actually don't know what happened with all of that. I never heard anything else about the lawsuit stuff. I don't know, like, is it still ongoing or what? But
at least
she's got a new song coming out, so.
Yeah, and at least from what I've seen on, like, Twitter and stuff is, like, people haven't forgotten it, and they're not necessarily over it. So, I don't know. Another interesting one. See, okay, so I feel like when I said earlier that 4/6 of this that we were excited about.
Yeah.
I had in mind that the 2/6 were Morgan Wallen and Lizzo.
Yes.
What were your two?
Okay. That too.
Because when I said that joke, you went right into Mikey Madison, and I was like, oh, I think we're not on the same page here.
I meant Morgan Wallen and Lizzo. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, but again, like I said, it's not that it's not gonna deliver, I would say. It's just interesting timing.
They've been doing that a lot this season, though.
Yeah, who else?
Chappelle.
Yeah.
And then, like, Shane Gillis, which that timing-wise wasn't crazy. It was just like, oh, same Morgan Wallen.
It's just always weird to see
You're
him
just
in the same.
Oh, okay. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, anything else on our lineup here?
I don't think so. I think that about covers it.
I know. We're just about in the home stretch. It's going to be these three more, and then season 50 is complete. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't put this in my notes. Should we talk about the color differences in Saturday Night Live?
Pretty crazy.
This was something that I have a general, like, feeling, and we might have talked about it during the 50th, because I remember thinking that the 50th in particular looked very gray.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this just, this is something that's jumped out at me a couple of times through the past couple of years, but I've been like, maybe it was just that one weird sketch, maybe it was like, I don't know, they didn't take a filter or something, something that made it jump out at me. And then I saw this meme, which I don't have for you right now, Caroline, but I'll put in the edit. It was this meme, which, like, the text of it, who cares? But what was so striking was it was a side-by-side of the first time Lady Gaga hosted and then the most recent, a couple weeks ago. And the color difference. I mean, you can see it right now. There's no filter on either one of these pictures.
Yeah.
That's how it looked in 2013, and that's how it looked in 2025. It's not even, how she's lit is one thing, but look at the door, the stage door in the background. Yeah. That's like, you got like a cherry red going on back here, and then 2025, everything's just so much more muted and so much grayer, and I don't know why. I don't know if this was a conscious decision. There's two things at play here. One is that SNL's former lighting director, who had been with the show for just about 45 years, passed away in 2018, Phil Hines. And so they for sure have a new lighting director, so it could just be a change of tastes. But so it could be unintentional in that way. It could be unintentional in that, like, there were gradual changes over the course of years that no one necessarily noticed. It's very interesting to go, especially when you see it now and like, whoa, that really popped. That was like warm and like more showbizy, I think, when it's that warmer kind of light. Oh, the other layer of this is that, like, technology changes.
Yeah, the picture quality between the two is like very different. But you know, I don't know, just because it's sharper doesn't, you know, necessarily mean it has to be grayer. But
right, exactly. But the other thing about this is, like, with technological changes in lighting, it's very possible and probably pretty likely that in 2013 they were just running standard, like, more spotlight type things that were run off of like halogen bulbs, versus now everything's predominantly LED. And even an LED warmed up still has a little bit of that blue electronic tone
you can't
to
really
it.
you can't really make it warm
Exactly.
fully.
And so there could be a layer of that.
I also just think in general, like, if you look at, I know everybody always talks about this, but the, like, movies and TV in general just are a little bit they're not as saturated anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a whole other factor, is that tastes have changed so
it's just
much.
kind of been a gradual shift across the board everywhere, not just at SNL.
Where it's more of a focus on, I'd say it's more of, people are thinking of it as more of a focus on realism.
Yeah.
Rather than, like, creating something that, I don't know, does look larger than life.
Right.
You know? The way, like, Wicked was art directed is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Like, the windows look real, for sure, for better or worse. Like, those giant windows in the library blew everything and everyone out of the frame. That is how it would look in real life, for sure. Does it add anything to the story? My personal feeling is no.
Then if you look at like Barbie, which was very bright and colorful, but not realistic because it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't supposed to be, so maybe they get away with that a little bit more than something like Wicked, which obviously not supposed to be realistic, but, you know, they're not dolls, so.
It's just interesting. It's like it's an interesting conversation that I think is being had larger than just SNL, but even something as simple as aiming a camera at a person on a stage, that conversation is working its way into this very simple shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I see the aspect of, if it looks like real life, if it looks like it would with human eyes, it's a little more grounding. You don't that separation you have from the story is a little bit blurred when everything looks like it would if you were standing there. But again, I think it's a product of overthought, maybe.
Yeah, there wasn't anything wrong with the way they were doing it before, so it's like, you know, why? I would be interested if you could find somebody that has hosted, maybe, I was going to say Alec Baldwin, but he hasn't hosted that much recently. If you can find someone that's hosted a lot in between these two pictures, or in between these two times, and if you can kind of track if it's changing a lot every year, or if it was like all of a sudden it looked different.
Yeah.
How gradual was it, you know?
That'd be interesting. I could work on this for next episode for sure.
Little slideshow.
A little slideshow. We'll table this conversation. But yeah, that was just, again, not in my notes, just something I've been thinking about, something I've been talking around.
On your mind.
But yeah, so, well, anything else SNL wise that we should discuss before we?
I have some show and tell.
Show and tell?
Show
SNL
and tell.
related?
Yeah, my book came.
Ooh. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you, so is it more like, what is it? What's the vibe of that book?
It's a good amount of just like here I pulled up it's kind of hard to see it, but there's your John Hamm picture. They cut him in half, so it looks a little crazy.
It looks insane.
But it's kind of a combo of it'll be like, these pictures.
Oh, wow.
But then
They got up to the minute. Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, there's some pretty recent ones. But then there's some like, let me see if I can. There's like little short, writing interspersed in there.
Okay.
For the most part, it's just a collection of the portraits. But yeah, it's been. There's Timmy. Yeah, I haven't like fully gone through all of it yet, but
yeah,
I was pretty
That's
excited.
awesome,
And Andy's on the cover,
which is perfect. Perfect choice for the
Scarlett's on the back.
amazing.
So.
Yeah, I imagine that's so cool because I mean, surely there's a memoir in Mary Ellen Matthews' future because like that.
I would think
the photo department is so extensive. Yes. I mean, yes, the portraits, which is already like a huge job, especially for like the bigger stuff that they do. Like immediately right off the top of my head was like a couple of times ago when Timothy Chalamet hosted, they went and did a whole Central Park photo shoot. Every bumper of his was out in Central Park. But also that department is responsible for documenting the show.
Yeah.
And that's an aspect that they've had the entire time. Like back when it was Edie Baskins's team, one of the things that they wanted was somebody going around and taking pictures of what's happening, just keeping record of the behind the scenes stuff. Which I'm sure wasn't happening in that capacity very often, especially in the 70s.
Yeah.
So it's just so cool. The stories that the photo department could tell, I'm sure.
That's the thing. Yeah, I would love a tell-all from her. I don't know if we would get an actual true tell-all, but
she'll keep some things close to the chest. But
speaking of memoirs, though, I'm trying to get my hands on this Lorne memoir.
Oh yeah.
I really want to read it. But I haven't gotten around to getting a copy or anything.
I believe it's just called Lorne Michaels, right?
It's got some subtitle, but it's called like Lorne.
Lorne, the man who invented Saturday Night Live by Susan Morrison.
That's my grandma's name.
Really?
She did not write the book.
She did? Are you sure?
Yeah, not her. I can tell you it wasn't her.
If you've been holding out on me all this time, your grandmother's been interviewing Lorne every couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to get Lorne on the pod next time.
Oh, well, now
he's my grandma's friend.
Yeah, they go way back. Yeah, no, that will be a good one too. I'm still thinking about this one right here, which I've flashed on the pod a couple of times now because they updated. This is the copy that was updated for the 40th.
Yeah.
So I figured there'd be something for the 50th because we're talking about Trump, we're talking about COVID, we're talking about when politics became theater. Like all of that would be covered in, an appendage, an addendum to that book. It just feels
maybe
right, but it hasn't
post
happened yet.
50th. Maybe they're waiting till it's all done.
I'll hold out hope, but we'll see. Because God, I would just devour that.
SNL book club.
Exactly.
Over
for
here.
Sure. It'll keep the pod going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're gonna run out really quick.
Yeah, 50th season's wrapping up. We gotta come up with other things to do. So did we talk about this before or after I started rolling? The potential for maybe Tina Fey to close it all out?
Before.
That was before we started recording?
Yeah.
Here's why I say that. Is because, obviously, Amy Poehler started a new podcast this week. There's 2 episodes of it out right now. I watched the Tina Fey one earlier today. And turns out Tina Fey has a new show coming to Netflix to hear her tell it in May. Now I can't confirm this anywhere else, but if she says it's coming out in May, it's coming out in May. She has a reason to come host. She's promoting a project, no less.
Timing seems to work out. Only thing left to do is get her in the doors. I think she would make for an incredible finale host in particular. And you said something very interesting, maybe a way she could close the episode. I think she closes it at good nights and announces that it's her show now.
That she's the one. Yeah.
Gauntlet, pass the torch.
Exactly.
Says goodnight to Lorne.
They hoist Lorne on their shoulders.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Everyone cheers. I think that is beautiful. And so pile that on to our many predictions for these last 3 episodes. There's not a lot of room to fit.
I was going to say, if we're going to hit all of them, they're going to have to start doubling up on hosts.
Yeah, exactly. Keke Palmer and Tina Fey, May 17th. That's the one. So here's another thing that's going to kind of help us potentially determine, see if we can figure out how many new versus returners would come back and host for the back half of the season. I was thinking about this on the way home today. I'm curious to see how it shook out between who all appeared in the 40th anniversary special and then went on to host in those back 8 episodes of the season. Mm-hmm. So let's take a look at the rundown for this last part of season 40. We had Dakota Johnson hosted. She was a first time. Chris Hemsworth was a first time, I believe, at this point. The Rock, not a first time, but I don't think he appeared in the 40th.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Michael Keaton may have been in the crowd for the 40th.
Probably, yeah, but I don't remember him doing anything.
No, he was not. He did not appear in the 40th. I thought he was in the Q&A segment, but he was not.
Oh.
Taraji P. Henson, that was her only time hosting. Mm-hmm. Scarlett Johansson.
I don't know if she was at the 40th.
She probably was, but apparently she did not speak. It's not coming up on our search here. Reese Witherspoon, don't think she appeared during the 40th.
No.
And closed it out with Louis C.K., who did appear during the 40th. So
how interesting.
That's interesting to me because I felt like we saw more crossover between appeared on the 40th and then hosted later in the season, but that's not necessarily the case. The reason I was thinking about that was because Meryl Streep is another perfectly good hosting for this back part of the season. She hasn't done it yet. She clearly can. We saw in the Close Encounters sketch. But I don't, seeing this now.
It seems like they didn't really take it into consideration when booking, or they were trying to do the opposite,
Right, they had their fun. Now let's spotlight some more people. And if you, again, like I've been saying with the 50th, is all of this is supposed to be taken as one big retrospective, including the season, including the documentaries, then it would make sense to spread the love a little bit on the way out. But it's time for Meryl Streep to host.
It's so crazy that she hasn't.
Yeah.
Now that I know that she can do it, I'm more mad that she wasn't in Martin Short's Christmas episode. Why couldn't she have made an appearance there?
She was probably hanging around.
I'm sure she was there.
So maybe one day. You know what? Even long after the 50th is over and the podcast is done, if she doesn't host until well into the future, we'll come back and review her episode and only her episode.
When she comes to promote Mamma Mia 3.
Exactly. That's all of that will happen at the same time.
Or Devil Wears Prada 2.
Yeah. These wishful thoughts we have. Well, that's all I got. Should we move outside of SNL, do you think?
Reluctantly.
I know. I never want to leave, but we just must. You're going to take this first one. You want to tell us what else you've been watching and consuming lately?
Well, my true, honest answer is actually 30 Rock, because I did just finish my annual rewatch.
Congratulations.
And in case anyone's wondering, it is still the greatest show of all time.
Of course. Clear dishwashers.
Incredible. But if we're going based off of newer things that I've been like really, really into, this Hulu show Paradise.
Paradise.
Have you heard of it?
The official reveal. I don't think I have. And I was kind of surprised.
It's a Hulu only show. It came out, it maybe started airing like end of January maybe was when it started, and it was just a weekly release. I don't know if you're into like a political thriller, action, conspiracy, whatever kind of vibe, but this show was it. I sat down to watch the first episode, and I wasn't really sure what it was about. They didn't really advertise what it was about. Like, all that I knew was that James Marsden was the president, and Sterling K. Brown was in the Secret Service.
Okay.
That was it. That was kind of all the information I had, and it got billed on Wikipedia as a political thriller. I was like, sure. I like James Marsden. I'll check it out.
That's my president.
Yes. Chris Cross.
Yeah.
It sucked me in, like, just right away. I watched 6 episodes in one day, because I just could not stop watching it. I cannot really explain to you why, because there is, like, I don't want to give away what's going on.
Okay.
But if you just watch the first episode, it's just so good. It's just, it's like action, conspiracy. So there's like a little bit of a mystery, but it just takes like a full left turn from what you think it's going to be. And I'm telling everyone I know to watch it.
Sounds really interesting. So is the season complete now? Like all of season 1 is out? Yeah,
there's 8 episodes, and it finished a couple weeks ago. So yeah, you can watch the whole season, and it got renewed for another season. So there will be a second season. It probably, if it had gotten canceled, like, it would have sucked, but they do wrap it up mostly.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of shows do that, where it's like, if we don't make it, then we kind of ended it, but if we do, then there's more to talk about.
Right. It's just, it was just a really good, I think it was just a really well done show. I just really enjoyed it. And I really like James Marsden and Sterling K. Brown, and they both did a really good job. I can't give away too much, but
does it have a similar vibe? Because knowing as little as I know, the first thing that comes to mind is like Designated Survivor. I don't know if you watched any of that.
I've been watching Designated Survivor because of this, because I wanted more of the like political type stuff. It is similar. I think like tone wise it's pretty similar.
Yeah, because I only saw the pilot of Designated Survivor.
That's all you really need to watch.
Transparently, that's all I needed. That's all I felt I needed.
Yeah.
But just that description kind of struck me as, something in that vein.
It's the whole thing with all of those. It's the same thing with like those 2 Secret Service movies that came out at the same time with Channing Tatum and Gerard Butler. That kind of vibe. But just a little bit extra on top of it. It was good.
Okay. This does sound interesting. Hulu's always the one that like I don't have.
Oh,
Hulu's the one thing, like, and it's like I've never really had it, which is crazy because I had it a long, long, long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I watched SNL.
I remember when Hulu was free.
Oh yeah, back in my day.
Yeah.
Yes. And so it's just so funny that like I really didn't like stick with Hulu. I still haven't seen season 3 of The Bear, so at some point I gotta get back
you'll just have to get it for a month and just run through everything.
Wipe it all out. Yep.
Yeah.
Because this does sound interesting.
I really liked it.
interested to see
Everybody I've told to watch it has liked it too. It just depends on
Mhm.
if you're like into action, and if that's like your
Okay.
thing. If it's not, then I wouldn't watch it, but it's good.
I
It's
like action every
intriguing.
now and then. Yeah. Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
hey, again, James Marsden's there. I sign up.
Yeah.
That's
He's so
it.
good in it.
Doesn't go much further than that. So, but this does sound interesting too. All right. Well, there you go. Paradise
Paradise.
on Hulu. Now, I will share what I have been watching recently, and not been watching. I watched it. I finished it. Watched it all in one weekend because this is a show that's very important to Meryl, and she was like, "I want to experience the whole thing with you," and I said, "Okay." So we knocked it all out in one weekend. It's Agatha All Along. Now, did you see this when it came out?
I think I waited until there were like 4 episodes out, and then I watched all 4, and then I was watching week to week.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I kind of half binged it, and then I was kind of waiting.
There were 2 things that concerned me about it when people started talking about it. One was, well, just the Disney original of it all. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I actually didn't find out till much, much later that it's in the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this and WandaVision, I had no idea that it was attached to Marvel.
Yeah, really?
Really.
That's interesting. Did you watch WandaVision when it came out?
Nope.
See, and I really liked WandaVision, which is why I watched this, because it was kind of a sequel to it. I think WandaVision is the best Marvel thing that Disney Plus has done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked this a lot. I think it feels different than all the other Marvel stuff, obviously.
For sure. And so my worry going into it was like, not only is it a Disney Plus original, but it's Marvel attached.
Yeah.
And I'm not in the world. I missed a couple of movies in 2009 and never
And then,
caught up.
You can't really. Yeah.
And so that was my concern. My other concern was like, I did end up watching WandaVision because Meryl told me that you have to start with WandaVision.
Yeah.
Like, the ideal experience is to start with WandaVision, then watch the Doctor Strange movie that came out in 2022.
Yeah.
And then go into Agatha All Along. So that's exactly what I did. I did all of WandaVision, watched the movie, and then Agatha All Along. I was blown away by WandaVision. I really enjoyed it. The problem was I thought they captured the essence of those like sitcoms that they were emulating so well. It was so crazy good, and also like the twists and the mysteries they're putting throughout it were extremely intriguing. But then they would cut outside of the hex to like the military people, and it was like it was written by a whole different group of people. The dialogue went through the floor, and it was so jarring to be like, inside the house or inside the neighborhood, it's this well written, like well referenced, I guess, sitcom honoring, and then you go back out and it's cheesy drama, and I'm just like, so I was worried. I was worried about Agatha All Along because I was like, they don't have the sitcom crutch to go on.
Yeah.
I was so pleasantly surprised and impressed by this. It was so intricate. It was the twists and the reveals in it are next level. The Patty LaPone's episode.
Yes.
The fact that they were able to like pepper in that whole episode in the 6 previous episodes leading up to it was just fascinating. You
recontextualize what was going on with her before that. Yeah. Oh, I loved it.
And you know, I mean, you gotta watch it. I don't want to spoil it. I wouldn't call it time travel. It's just it was revealed that that's how she experiences her life.
Right.
That to her is linear time, and just the execution of that, it was amazing. And then every single like monologue that Catherine Hahn had, really just every single one of her deliveries was fantastic. And it's heartbreaking to know that because it's on Disney Plus, it might not get the Emmy attention.
Yeah, I don't feel like it will.
But God, Catherine Hahn needs it for this.
Oh, she's incredible.
Like, needs it. If it weren't for, I mean, who knows what this would even be nominated in, whether it would be comedy or drama. If it's drama, then for my money, it's between Catherine Hahn and Britt Lower.
Yeah.
But if it's comedy, I kind of think it's got to be Catherine Hahn. It was that good.
It was excellent, yeah.
Yeah. It was. I was just supremely impressed. And then, you know, I mean, even Aubrey Plaza, who's not in too many of the episodes, but God,
when she's in it, you're like, yeah.
Oh, it's just
Sashir.
Everybody. Oh, Sashir Zameda, come on. Oh man.
So good.
We gotta get her. We gotta get her booked. We gotta get her
for real.
A lot. Yeah. Just I was supremely impressed with Agatha all along, and it's one of those that I feel like you need to rewatch because so many hints are dropped throughout.
Once you know, you go back and you go, oh, okay, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So. Yeah. Just very, very cool, very good show. I forgot to put a title card at the end, so I have to go back. That's it. That's our show. Any final thoughts, Caroline, before we... Here's my prediction. I predict that they're going to release the next list, the next slate of shows on April 23rd. Okay. I'm going to be out of town that entire weekend from the 23rd through the weekend. So how about you and I and our lovely fans, how about we all see each other on April 29th? What do you say?
Sounds like a plan, assuming we have an announcement.
Assuming. We'll see. Goodbye, everybody.